Are you listening? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sports Talk in the Burgh. I'm Logan Carney here, as always, with the future Hall of Famer Ian Kist and the new kid on the block, Matthew Simkovic Jr. And as you can finally see, we got a new intro just in time for a playoff-filled episode that let's just dive right into. So the Robert Morris men's basketball team is set to start their 15th consecutive NEC playoff tonight as they take on Mount St. Mary's. Now, guys, what are your thoughts on RMU's chances, and what are your score predictions for this first matchup?
They lose. They lose without a doubt. My prediction, I think I said 77.
$70 to 50.
It's double digits. I think they'll keep it somewhat close, but they just have the team chemistry hasn't been there. Mount St. Mary's going to pull in the end. But we lost the last 7 times to Mount St. Mary's. And I just don't think that this team has the team chemistry anymore. I think that's gone. I think we're seeing flashbacks to the past 2 seasons when things just go haywire and players just get all about themselves. We have Leandre Washington, who's apparently having some issues with the coaching staff and playing time, and hasn't gone the last road trip.
Ian, I agree with you and I disagree with you. I don't think it's going to be clear cut. I don't think that I'm 100% going to say. I mean, I am predicting Mount St. Mary's, but I'm not predicting them, 100%. And I think Robert Morris, if they play to their potential, then they can win. This is a team that in the 15 consecutive years, they have not gotten past the first round 3 times total. 2 of those times, 2005, 2007, completely irrelevant because Coach Toole was not the coach. Now I have them. If you look over here, I have them as 71-59 Mount St. Mary's. So yes, I still have Mount St. Mary's winning. All right, because of the offense, but I just don't think it's clear cut.
I have them losing, and honestly, we haven't won against Mount yet this year. Last time we played the Mount, what happened? 19 turnovers.
Well,
you can't win a game with 19 turnovers.
And plus, when you get down by 10 in the first few minutes, you're not going to come back from
turnovers.
that. And that doesn't help.
Back from 19 turnovers.
Yes, I agree. That 19 turnovers, you're not going to win with 19 turnovers. It's just not. It's not. It's not in anybody's favor to. As the season is winding down, RMU women's basketball is currently tied with St. Francis of Pennsylvania for first place in the NEC. There are a few scenarios that have to happen for them to solely have the number 1 seed in the NEC playoffs. Guys, does this team need the number 1 seed to make it to the NCAA tournament?
No. I don't think they need it, but I think it would be a huge help. We haven't won at St. Francis this season.
And they thrive off of home court advantage. We lost by double digits, 21. And we barely beat them on our home court with the Megan Smith
with the
buzzer beater. I just think this team kind of gets psyched out in a way, and I think you give St. Francis their home territory, you're going to see
there's only one team in the entire tournament that I think has a chance to beat Robert Morris, and I don't think they're going to beat Robert Morris, and that's St. Francis. All right, I'm not saying that I don't think Robert Morris needs the 1 seed because I don't think they're going to lose regardless of where they are. Yes, St. Francis worries me a little bit, but Robert Morris is the more balanced team. All right, St. Francis, their offense is the best in the conference. It is. All right, they average 81 points a game, which is about 20 points more than the second place, but their defense is the worst in the conference, all right? Robert Morris's offense, it's 5th, so it's right there in the middle of the pack. Their defense is the best in the conference. Defense wins championships, all right? I could care less where you are. Robert Morris is going to win the tournament regardless of where it is.
But my thing is, when at that game a few weeks ago at St. Francis, you won the first quarter. You held Jessica Kovach to 3 points, I believe 10 in the first half, and then you just let her. And then St. Francis took over and played her style of basketball, and that's why she went off for 30-some points. You gotta play RMU basketball, even if you have to go to St. Francis.
RMU men's hockey made the postseason despite their recent drop in play level. In the first round, they will face the Bentley Falcons. What do you guys think about the team's chances for not the first round, but the whole AHC tournament?
Well, I'll be quite honest. I have Robert Morris getting bounced in the first round. I don't think they're going to get past Bentley. I mean, Robert Morris men's hockey, they're 1-2-1 against Bentley. They're the highest penalties team in the AHC, and guess what, guys? They're the worst penalty kill team in the AHC too. They have the lowest. They've killed the least amount of penalties.
Have you seen the past few weeks?
Yeah.
It's not
5-1 in the past 6 games.
They can't. They
good.
can't do anything right now.
Yeah, but you have to look past the numbers. In the tie against Air Force in Game 2, I feel like they really stepped up their play.
But they still tied.
They still tied.
They had a chance at open net to win the game.
You're right.
In the weekend, this game against Air Force, they did nothing to inspire me because, as frankly as I'm concerned, they had 2 breakaways that they didn't score on. All right, they had an open net in both games in final seconds that not only could they at least send to overtime and win in the second, that they missed. He was 2 inches in front of the net. I don't miss that on playing in my backyard. All right, they're supposed to be D1 hockey players, and they've been struggling. I don't have them getting past a team that has owned them this year.
They looked blah. They didn't have any spunk, even on senior night. I mean, yeah, they fought back and they forced the game to overtime, but I just don't think they have it in them. I think they're just psyched out at this point in the season, and I think they get swept by Bentley.
Now, the Robert Morris women's hockey team earned a bye this year as they once again finished atop the CHA. Guys, how important is this bye, and who is the team that you are most worried about in the CHA playoffs?
It doesn't matter.
The bye doesn't matter. The bye is just an added bonus for finishing on top, honestly. They've fought all season, and if there's a team in the CHA that deserves to be on top, it's Robert Morris, without a doubt. They're there for a reason. Honestly, the only team that we should worry about is Mercyhurst. Yeah. It's only because they finished 2 points behind us. They're right on our tail. Honestly, they're the only team that has a real chance through the season. That's the only real one.
I scared them. They scare me. I mean, they're a gritty team.
We split 2-2 on the season.
You guys both picked Mercyhurst as their biggest story. I picked Penn State, and I'll tell you why. Mercyhurst and Robert Morris, they split this year. But Penn State, Robert Morris beat them once. They beat Mercyhurst twice. Robert Morris tied with Penn State 3 times. There's nothing that says to me that Penn State can't beat them. They tied with them 3 times. They were 1 goal away from beating them.
Well, at the same time, if you're going to make that argument, you can say that Robert Morris was 1 goal away from beating Penn State, and there's no reason that RMU can't beat Penn State.
But my gut is telling me that, hey, they're not going to take Mercyhurst lightly because they've lost to them, but there's a very good chance they take Penn State lightly, and that's why they can lose.
I think it's more of a rivalry between us and Mercyhurst.
That makes me think that Mercyhurst is just they're the top.
They'll have the most grit and the most. They'll play a lot dirty, but they'll get us under our skin, and that's why I think Mercyhurst scares us. As the winter sports season comes to a finish and conference tournaments are in full swing, which RMU winter sports team has the best chance of winning their conference tournament and making the NCAA tournament in their respective sports?
Rewind the show 15 seconds. Women's hockey, without a doubt. Their record is 27-4 throughout the season. They're first in the conference, and all signs are pointing for them to go full steam ahead and blow through the playoffs.
And I think a lot of people would also argue that women's basketball, I'm going with women's hockey. Women's basketball if teams, I think it's only opponents. If Fairleigh Dickinson would have finished, RMU would have lost by double digits. RMU has lost the conference. Women's hockey has lost conference games by more than 2 goals.
Let me defend my pick by asking you guys a question.
Women's basketball is losing by 21.
Right, let me defend my pick by asking you both a question. Now, who do we think is challenging women's basketball? St. Francis. That's it. That's it. Nobody else is. We debated. We brought up 2 teams that could challenge them with women's hockey.
But there's always a team in women's basketball in the NEC.
To be fair, you picked a sleeper team.
But
we picked a second place team in the
questionable.
But there's always a team in the NEC that comes to life. in women's basketball. And last year, that was Sacred Heart that knocked off St. Francis. I think this year, watch out for a Central Connecticut. Watch out for a Fairleigh Dickinson. They played RMU. These teams the bottom teams have been playing RMU great this past few weeks. And Sacred Hearts even, gave the Colonials a little run and only lost by single digits.
The fact is, women's basketball is the most balanced team in the conference, and that's why I think that they have the best chance.
In their conference, have you seen?
Now, don't go anywhere because we got Pirates and Penguins coming up after this. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Baseball Players Association filed a grievance with Major League Baseball regarding the use of revenue-sharing income by the Pirates, Marlins, Tampa Bay Rays, and Oakland Athletics. What do you guys think? Does the MLB teams need to spend more on players, or are they doing it okay the way they are?
I think this grievance is just completely baseless.
Yeah, it's silly.
I think it's
not going to go anywhere.
Let me read some payrolls off for you. $44 million. Now, let me guess, which one of those four teams do you think is paying their players $44 million? None of them, because that's the Philadelphia Phillies, and that's the bottom payroll league. In the league. Why aren't they in this suit? Why is the MLB not fine with them? Chicago White Sox, 28th in the league, $65 million. That's below the Rays and the Pirates too. All right, the A's, of course, second to the lowest. So yes, and the Marlins above the Padres as well. All right, they're suing teams, but they're forgetting about three teams that are below the teams that they're suing for not spending enough. Yes, they need to spend. Yes, these teams need to spend $10 million more. All right, but the Brewers, who spent $13 million more, are only projected 2 more wins than the Pirates are on Fangraphs, which is one of the most respectable baseball things out there. They're projected less than the A's, too. It just doesn't make sense. It's a baseless claim.
I just don't think you can always force owners to
I don't think you can get a
money.
raise. Like, you can't walk into a boss's office and be like, hey, guess what? I'm getting a raise, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you can't do that. You need to earn the pay that you get, and I feel like in the MLB, people are earning the pay that they get.
And, the players want $20 million deals, but the Pirates only saved $19 million with the Kutch and Garrett Cole trade, and the Pirates just don't have that flexibility.
Now, moving on to the Penguins, though, this big trade this past trade deadline for them was getting Derek Brassard. Now, guys, what are your thoughts on what seems to be, or at least in my opinion, a great move for the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions?
They got another center that I think they needed.
I feel like the Derek Brassard trade was a really big piece, and it's going to be a piece that doesn't look like it fits. It's going to be like a Carl Hagelin. Think about when we first got Hagelin. You hear about it and you're like, why did we just sign Carl Hagelin? And then we go back to back with him being a huge part in both playoff runs. I feel like, he has a lot of experience, without a doubt, He's up there. He's in the top 5, I believe, for most playoff games in the Eastern Conference that he's played
And
through.
who they gave up to, Reeves and Cole. I mean, you lose more in Cole,
Well,
but
the pick. The draft,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
draft
I mean,
pick.
draft
You
pick.
can't forget the draft
Congratulations.
pick. You can't forget the draft pick.
I think it was a good trade.
I think it was a great trade. Maybe they could have gone for a little less.
I was going to say, I wouldn't say
would've
great
liked
trade.
that.
We could have got him for cheaper, but
But
good trade.
they're adding
nonetheless.
a
It's piece
guy.
we needed.
They're adding a guy that can be on a first or second line on a lot of the teams in the NHL. Most of the teams in the NHL, and he's their third line center. This team is loaded. They're going to be, they're going to go against teams in the playoffs and be like, okay, Crosby gets tired. Well, we'll throw Malkin out. And then we'll throw Brassard and Kessel out. Who else are we going to throw out? This offense is just phenomenal. When the defense, it looks like they lack a little bit of depth because they gave up, defenders to get him. But the offense, I mean, they don't need defense when they're scoring 8 goals a game.
Yeah, I feel like the trade-off, you mentioned offense and defense. I feel like the trade-off, we gained a lot more offense than we lost in defense. I feel like at the end of the day, you run the numbers, this is a win for the Penguins.
In other Penguins news, GM Jim Rutherford inked Patrick Hornquist to a 5-year deal contract extension in which he will be making $5.3 million a year. Gentlemen, is this necessary for the Penguins to win 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, as he was the player that gave the Penguins the winning goal in Nashville last season?
Well, it's
Game
not
6.
It's not necessary to win 3 straight Stanley Cups because he was already signed for this year. So regardless, that wasn't going to affect, because if they didn't win this year, they weren't going to win 3 straight. But it's a great signing. He's a guy that, throughout his career, he's been a consistent 20-goal scorer. He's a guy that has a lot of offense he can play with. Really, any of the centers that they have, any of the 3 great centers that they have now, he's just a great player.
Look at the quote. It feels great. This is the city I want to be in. I want to win, and where is it? I want to win, and I think we have a great chance to win. That's good.
Yeah.
That means he wants to be here. He wants to play here. He worked with Jim Rutherford and found it out.
But what I meant was that sometimes players not knowing where they're going to be next year. Okay, do they go all in? Do the Penguins really love me? Do they really want me here? But now he's inked. He goes, let's go. Now let's go win this third cup and win as many as possible.
17 goals with not knowing where he was going to be next year. So I don't really think, this
I don't know.
affects this year.
17, I mean...
17 at this point is phenomenal. He's on pace for some of the best numbers of his career. 2 years ago when he had 22 goals with the Penguins, one of the highest totals.
But still,
it was
it's the middle
82 games.
But still, I think when it gets deeper into the playoffs, he can be like, you know what? Do they really want me here? But now he has something more to pay for.
I don't think that happens. Think about the Fleury situation. Fleury knew that he was leaving. Fleury came to terms with
But there
his
was
end,
always some
and
skeptics of if they were going to try to keep him or not.
Yeah, but there were
I don't want to win a
skeptics
Stanley Cup because I don't know if I'm going to be here next year.
I don't know.
Didn't have a problem sitting down and letting the team go on and win games. That's what they had to do, and that's what he did. It's the same thing. With spring training in full swing, the Pirates' pitching situation is a topic that has some people wondering, is it finally Tyler Glasnow's time to shine?
Yes.
What do we think?
Yes. With the rotation as weak as it is, yes, Tyler, you need to come play this season.
Well, it looks like he's not going to play in the rotation. So is it this year his
But if he provides numbers that he can be in, I mean, maybe the bullpen is better for him.
I think this year, he is going to go to the bullpen.
Come in for 100.
That's what it's looking like. I mean, Clint Hurdle's basically hinted at him starting the year in the bullpen, especially since they got Joe Musgrove. They look like Musgrove's going to get the 5th spot. Now, saying that, do I think Glasnow can, be a great reliever this year? Yes. The guy, he redid his delivery, and he threw 100 miles an hour in the first game back. I mean, that's phenomenal. I know it's early, but it's the first
scares me
game
with his
back.
health, though, a little bit.
He threw 100.
Is he used to throwing 100? Can that keep up? I know if he's a reliever, obviously he can keep up more, but is he going to be the long guy? If he's going to be the long relief guy in there for 3 innings, if Tyon has a bad outing and he's in there from the 5th to the 8th inning or 5th to the 7th inning, him throwing 100, we may not see him in September.
You say he was going to be the rotation, so what's the difference if he's a long reliever?
Well, that's not my point. I'm talking about his arm.
Well, that is your point.
No, I'm talking about his arm.
That's exactly what you said. Matt, am I wrong with that?
You're not wrong.
Yes.
If he's throwing 100, he's throwing 100. It doesn't matter if it's at the beginning of the game, the middle of the game.
He can't throw 100 in the rotation. He's just not going to last.
How do you know that?
Because no one's arm lasts like that.
Well, Justin Verlander. No? I've seen many people do it. But moving on, we're going to talk about Matt Murray, who was diagnosed with a concussion. Now, guys, how big of a loss is he if he ends up missing an extended period of time?
It's not.
Whoa. He's the biggest loss that we could have right now. We
I
lost
like
Fleury
the other
as far
guys.
as... Who? Who do you like instead of Murray?
I mean, I like Jari. I like DeSmith. I think it's
I
good
like DeSmith.
experience for
DeSmith
them.
shows potential. Jari, not an NHL
But
goalie.
Murray,
by
they
any
know where to
means.
go. Go to his glove side. Doesn't have a glove.
Well, technically speaking, he is an NHL goalie because he's on the NHL team.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not an NHL caliber goalie.
Well,
he's not an NHL top. He's not a starter. He could go any team in the NHL.
Look,
he's not
as
starting
far as
in
I'm
the
seeing,
NHL.
the Penguins have been winning with Matt Murray putting together, statistically the worst season. I mean, still great, still a good season. I'm not trying to, but it is also the worst of his career. Now, again, we talked about the offense. All right, if the Penguins win, it's because they're going to be It's going to be obviously it's going to be because they're outscoring people, but it's going to be by a significant amount. All right, their offense is going to tire out the other team's defense, and they're going to be putting up 4 goals a game, 5 goals a game. And that's going to be enough to get him by, no matter who's in net. Yeah, it might be more difficult.
Yeah, but I still feel like they're missing a big chunk. If he misses an extended period of time, think about Murray. So yes, he's putting up the worst numbers of his career, right? But think about what he lost. He had Marc-Andre Fleury to lead him, to show him, to model his game after, and then Fleury left. His role model was gone, and he was left at the helm.
Yeah, but
it was premature. It was premature.
But he had. No, it wasn't premature.
Give me a break.
He played them for 2 years. It's
So
not premature.
He's the starting goaltenders are gone. Now he's counting to be the big guy, even though he won 2 cups. And that's his reasoning. Come on.
All right, okay.
So you're saying
We'll
that the
debate this
backup
off
goalie.
camera. Do not go anywhere because when Sports Talk in the Burgh returns, we will dive into some more Penguins talk as a star player is out with an injury. We'll also discuss the Winter Olympics as we discuss an aspect of the Olympics that I thought of last week. We'll see what we'll see what our final takes are. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones
Don't even.
and explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. The Winter Olympics are officially over now. Let's now have a discussion about not the actual sports in winters, but a different type of question regarding the Olympics. I have been asking people the exact question this past week. Are the silver and bronze medal participation medals? Is it only for some events in sports? Or do you think overall they're participation medals?
No, Ian, you did ask me this before off camera, and I think it's an interesting question. It is. It's something I've never thought of before. Personally, I don't think they are, because I think the difference between participation medals and the Olympics is, if you get a silver medal, you're the second best in the entire world.
Yeah.
I mean, that means a lot with how many people are out there.
But what about the winner of a Stanley Cup? The Predators didn't get anything.
Yeah, but I think the difference is the amount of participation.
Yeah, but that's different. You don't get gold medals at the Stanley Cup Finals. You get the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but
if you were giving
silver,
out medal, it would be different.
For bronze medal, though, there's usually a bronze medal match or a bronze medal run.
Yeah, it was a bronze medal game, and then
But silver is, hey, you lost. Here's a medal. Congratulations, you won silver.
You still finished
Hold on.
second.
You get the silver medal
win.
You get the silver medal by going to the championship game. If you get to the championship game in a professional league, you get the conference trophy, which I think equals. I mean, the bronze. Nothing really equals the bronze trophy, but that equals the silver. I think those two balance each other out like the same thing. Now, I think really the big difference too is, when you win the NHL, when you win the Stanley Cup, there's only a handful. There's only about 30 teams. And you win in the Olympics. There's hundreds and thousands of other people.
Yeah, but not in each tournament. There's only a few teams in the hockey tournament. There's only seven people in the alpine skiing. Like, you see what I'm saying there, though?
I get what you're saying, but I still think they're necessary. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on the Ryan Shazier situation, with it being announced that he will not be joining the Steelers in the 2018 season?
I mean, it's official now. That's the only thing that makes me differ. I mean, they had a draft. They had to move pieces around in the linebacker core because they knew he was coming back. It's literally official now. It's official.
The difficult is what we all expected them to draft a linebacker at the draft, most likely. What worries me now is this defense played so much significantly worse down the stretch. I mean, you gave up the 40 points to Blake Bortles. It's a team that lost a lot with losing Shazier. They're bringing back all their defensive coaches. I still don't know why, but they didn't make any changes there, and it looks like they're just going to be losing on defense without adding to it.
And it's a weak draft class, in course, the linebackers. So to find someone to fit Shazier's role, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, but at the same time, I feel like nothing changed just because it was questionable at best.
You're right.
Now, guys, we're going to get on to our final takes, a segment where we say whatever it is on our mind that we want to talk about that we didn't get the chance to during the show. We will start with the great Ian Kist.
Hey, Kevin Stallings. It's me again. You've heard me on the RMU radio show, Sports with Carney. My frustration and irritation for Kevin Stallings and the Pitt men's basketball team keeps growing. Not only are they 0-17 in ACC play this season and 8-22 overall, they just keep looking worse and worse, in my opinion. 7 points in the first half against Virginia. 7 points. Yes, I know Virginia is the #1 team in the nation, but still, 7 points. Even in the down years of the Jamie Dixon era, Pitt still lost respectively and scored more than 7 points against top-ranked opponents and were better than 0-17 in conference play. Stallings wasn't hired by current athletic director Heather Lyke. I believe she should fire Stallings and bring in somebody she wants. She has had positively eyebrow-raising hires for other Pitt athletic programs in recent months, like the soccer teams. So why not give her a chance of bringing in another coach for the basketball program? Clearly, the Kevin Stallings experiment is not working.
For my final take, I have to talk directly to the RMU men's hockey team. You guys are killing me. I've seen this team play really good hockey games. If you think back to the Three Rivers Classic, they held the #11 team in the country at the time to a 1-goal game. Now come up to the games they've been playing, and disappointing is the only thing that comes to my mind. The Colonials better shape up their game before the 3-game weekend with Bentley, or it's going to be a short series if they play the way they have been. However, I do think that it's possible that they can pick up their game and make this into a decent run still. They're behind the 8 ball, but they did pick it up against Air Force in Game 2, so who really knows what's going to come out of the men's hockey team?
My final take this week is on a topic that I've grown increasingly frustrated with since I joined the show back in the fall. That is the current roster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, you heard me, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-time Super Bowl champs. Now, while this is the most talented group of athletes in the NFL, their obvious character issues have annoyed me immensely. Now, reports are coming out that Sean Davis, their star safety, is being sued by the family of a teenage Chick-fil-A worker after he was caught on video making fun of the kid's small character. My question is, where is the leadership on this team? Why is there not growing men on and off the field? Why is there not a single role model of what has always been and always will be Pittsburgh's favorite sports team? This incident happened back in December, midway through the season. Why does the roster feel the need to embarrass? Yes, you embarrassed us, Sean Davis, not just with your play on the field, but embarrassed us, this city, in what I thought was a class act of an organization. It's time for you guys to grow up, just like the rest of us have already done. Now, guys, as we all calm down, from our final takes and frustrated. Now, guys, we'll just real quick, what playoff team are you most excited to see this weekend?
This weekend, women's hockey.
Women's hockey? What about
Women's
you?
hockey for sure.
All right, we got 2 women's hockey, but you stay tuned. We'll see you back in a couple of weeks for more sports talk in the Burgh. Goodbye, everyone.